Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we are diving into a pretty quiet, but honestly, a really powerful technological revolution. It's happening right inside the dentist's office, and it's completely changing how we make dentures, something that's been done the same way for decades.
Most of us can probably picture the old way, right? That goopy, uncomfortable impression mold, followed by multiple long appointments, and you're just hoping the final product fits, because it all comes down to manual skill. Well, now that's being replaced by clean, super fast digital scans and a process that promises a level of precision we could have only dreamed of before. So to really get our heads around this huge shift, we're going to follow the work of Professor Xin Wu. He's created something called the Digital Dental Notes, and it's basically a clear, systematized guide to this whole new process. So let's jump right in and take a journey into this new world. What's great is that Professor Shin's workflow boils down to three really clear stages. First, you get the data. Then you do the digital design. And finally, you manufacture the thing. Simple, right? Let's break down that first step. Okay, so our journey starts right here with step one, data acquisition. This is all about getting rid of those old physical molds and instead creating an unbelievably accurate digital replica of the patient's mouth. The whole goal here is to create what's called an STL file, a digital blueprint. Just think of it like a perfect 3D map of your mouth, captured with scanners that are not only way more accurate, but also a lot more comfortable than those old impression materials. This blueprint, it's the foundation for literally everything that comes next. Now, what's really interesting is that this digital revolution doesn't mean we just throw out everything from the past. For patients who don't have any teeth, getting a perfect direct scan can actually be pretty tricky. So Professor Shin suggests this really clever hybrid approach. You take a precise traditional impression, and then you scan that. It's such a smart, pragmatic solution that really gives you the best of both worlds. All right, so with that perfect digital blueprint in hand, we can now step into the design studio. This is step two, and it's where the artistry and the engineering of a perfect smile all come together right there on the computer screen. One of the most crucial tools at this stage is the virtual articulator. In the past, technicians had to use this kind of clunky mechanical device to try and mimic a patient's bite. Well, now, this powerful software does it all digitally. It simulates every chew, every tiny movement to make sure the final dentures don't just look great, but that they function absolutely perfect. The whole process is really like digital sculpting. A technician can zoom right in. They can adjust the shape of a single tooth by a fraction of a millimeter. They can tweak the bite, all with just a few clicks. It gives them this incredible, unprecedented level of control, replacing that old, super time-consuming process of setting teeth in wax by hand. All right, we have our perfect digital design. And now for the magic trick, turning those pixels into a physical prosthetic. This is step three, manufacturing, where we finally bring that design to life. So to actually create the physical denture, you've basically got two main paths. First up is milling. Think of this as a subtractive process, where a machine carves the denture out of a solid block of resin. The other way is 3D printing, which is an additive process. It builds the denture layer by tiny layer. To put it simply, milling is awesome for its strength and durability, while 3D printing is fantastic for speed, productivity, and making really complex shapes. But here it is. This is the real game changer for the patient. Your smile is now stored as a permanent digital file. So what does that mean? It means if you lose or break your denture, you don't have to go through that whole long process again. The lab can just pull up your file and print or mill a perfect identical copy, sometimes in a matter of hours, not weeks. That's just incredible peace of mind. So we've seen the how, we've seen the scans, the design, the manufacturing, but let's just step back for a second and talk about the why, because this is about so much more than just some new gadget in the dentist's office. The advantages here are just huge. For you, the patient, this digital precision means a better, more comfortable fit with way fewer visits to the dentist. And for the dental team, it means they can collaborate seamlessly and provide really sustainable, long-term care. All thanks to that permanent digital file we talked about. But hold on, because this revolution is still evolving.
The next frontier, which Professor Shin also talks about, is integrating artificial intelligence right into this workflow.
Now, when we say AI, don't start thinking about science fiction robots. We're talking about something called weak AI or narrow AI. This isn't some general human-like intelligence. It's an AI that's been designed and trained to be an expert at one very, very specific task.
And its task in dentistry is pretty incredible. This weak AI can analyze your digital scan and then automate parts of the design process. It can actually suggest the absolute optimal arrangement of teeth for your unique facial structure and your bite. It basically acts like an incredibly smart assistant, making sure you get an even better, more personalized picture.
And that brings us to this really powerful final thought from Professor Shin. He believes this isn't just some new technique or a minor upgrade. He calls it a fundamental paradigm shift, a complete change in the way we even think and approach dental care. We're moving from a manual craft to a precise digital science.
Ultimately, this whole shift in dentistry, it's like a blueprint for the future of healthcare. It's faster, it's more accurate, and it's deeply personalized. And it leaves us with a really fascinating question. We've just seen how this technology can transform something as personal as a smile, so what part of our health is next?